Hey everyone, welcome to another Webflow community live stream. I'm your host Nelson. Thank you for joining me today. As you can see by the title below, we are doing our third live support hour. All right. So before we begin, I want to say to the people who are in the live chat right now, first in the door, Christopher, welcome, welcome, welcome. And then we have Eli's back, Diego's back, Arturo's back. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so let me explain how this live support hour goes if you haven't been with us in the past two episodes. So if you have any questions regarding web design, Webflow, you can ask them here and we'll answer it live. Or if you have any questions or need help with your Webflow project, be it the design, layout, custom code, or something like that, you can go ahead and ask those questions here as well. But share your read-only link for your project in this form that our moderators Lacey and Matthew will link at the top of the chat. All right. So, in the agenda for today, we're going to bring in our customer support team member of the month, our guest, and he will help answer the frequently asked question of the month. And then, lastly, we will open up the floor to answer those Q&As and project links that you've already queued up for us. We'll answer those at the end. All right. So, without further ado, let's welcome our guest, Customer Support Manager Drew Schafer. Welcome, Drew.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Yes, yes, thank you so much. So, you are one of our support team managers from the APAC region. You're actually in New Zealand right now.
Yes, that is correct. It is bright and early. Well, not bright. It's still dark, but
Yeah,
it's early.
so I just want to say thank you so much for waking up really early to be on the stream and helping our community out. So, first of all, what is your day to day like when it comes to being a customer support manager here at Webflow?
Yeah, so as a customer support manager, I have a few different kind of responsibilities that I look after. I've got a team of different customer support agents that I work with and help in order to help our community and our customers.
Yeah.
I also, work on some initiatives here and there to help improve our relationship with our customers. So, being able to bring in those issues or questions they may have, and then relaying them to our product teams efficiently and making sure we're getting the right information. And then also helping out, whether it's in our support queues or in the forum, answering customer questions when possible.
Yeah, and I noticed that your team has redesigned the support website. So congratulations to you and your team for doing that. It's like so clear on where to find help and how to contact you, you and your team. So yeah, good job to you and your team for doing that.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks.
the other question, because I just want to introduce you to the community, is besides customer support, what do you do for your hobbies? Like, what else do you do after work?
Yeah, I am a bit of a home brewer, so I enjoy brewing my own beer.
Mm.
I actually currently have a keg under my desk,
Oh,
so easy tap access there. But yeah, it's just one of the things I do. Yeah, one of my current favorite hobbies.
it,
I'm involved in.
it must be so intricate. Like I don't know what home brewing's like, and so like there must be so many processes. In like I feel like it's such a science to do. Like, is it down to like the milliliter or something, or like okay, I have to put this much of this ingredient and then this much, and it's like a balance. Like, what is that like?
Yeah, so there are different ways to do it. You can do it kind of the easier way, which is all extracted and a lot of it's done for you. But then you can also do it the more traditional way, which there are some things that adding in just a couple grams of a different type of grain can bring out different flavors or even different hops that you could add in. So it's not like perfect. You don't have to get it down to the milliliter, but adding in just a little bit of something can actually make a big difference.
Oh, okay. So do you have like a favorite flavor or something that you've made, and have you named it yet?
I have not named it, but I am a saison fan. So a nice Belgian saison, something
Ooh.
yeah, a bit farmhouse ale. Yeah, it's kind of my go-to that I try to make, but still haven't mastered it. It's quite a difficult one. So
Oh, seems interesting. Okay. So thank you so much again for being here. So the reason why we bring a customer support team member onto these streams is I asked them to find the frequently asked question of the month. So, what is the most common questions that come into the support inbox? And instead of just emailing the community one on one, we make a video to help everyone who may have that same question in the future. So let's go to our frequently asked question of the month. And Drew, can you tell us what that question is and how do we solve it?
sure thing. So we often get a lot of questions around search engine optimization or sharing your site. So
Hmm.
we actually are going to do FAQs of the month. So just a few kind of quick questions that we get that we'll go into and try to answer. So first off, one question we get a lot is how can I control the content that is shown on a Google search result or any search engine result?
Yeah.
Uh, Next, how do I adjust the content that's displayed when I share my website on something like Facebook or LinkedIn? Third, what do I do if I want to remove my page or content from a search engine result? And then, somewhat in line with that, is what do I put in my robots.txt file? So, got it there
Hmm.
in the SEO tab. What in the world is it? And what do I put in there?
Yeah, very, very important because, like, how can you find your site even after it's published? Because just publishing doesn't make it available to everyone. It's like, how can people find my
Yes,
site? Yeah.
exactly. And so that's what we're going to look into. So yeah, let's jump right into that first question. How can I control the content shown on Google search results?
Okay.
So as you mentioned, first off, yeah, you do have to publish your site. If you don't publish it, obviously it's never going
Yeah.
to be found. But once you do, it actually may still take some time before anything shows up. And so that's actually one of the first keys is sometimes you just have to wait. It may take search engines anywhere from a few hours to a few months before they fully
Oh.
crawl and index your site. There are some things you can do to speed that up by using the tools that the search engines provide. But regardless of that, eventually it will get found. It will get crawled. Which
Yeah.
crawling is kind of the process of where it just searches your site. The search engine looks through all the pages and sees what
Yeah.
what content is there.
Yeah, whenever
Um,
I talk to clients, I'm like, they're asking like, "Hey, when is my site gonna get on Google?" And I'm like, "It's up to Google. I can't just call them up and say, hey, do it now.'
yeah,
So it's
it's a mystery. So, but there is yeah, some things
Mhm.
we can do that once they do
Yeah,
actually find it,
yeah,
we can inform it what to save or what to index
okay,
about our site. And
yeah,
that's what if we take a look actually at the designer and we take a look at our pages. So here I've got my site and all the different pages, and Google is going to crawl it. They're going to start looking through these. They're going to be saving random information about my site.
by the way,
And
great name for a website.
thank you. One day the brewery will exist, but until then, I'll just
Put it out there in
keep
the
this name.
universe.
Yeah. Um, if we head over to the about page here, I got my site settings, and I scroll down. We have this section here called SEO settings. And so what this is it's a two fields, our title tag and our meta description. And we're able to put content in this, which then informs the search engine what to save and what to display when someone searches for our site. Now, little disclaimer, sometimes Google won't show this information. They may adjust what they display based on what someone searches.
Hmm,
But most of the time, this is what's going to show. So in this case, I'll just copy something in here
okay.
and there we go. We can even see a little preview about what it would look like. on a search engine. So, if you have a template, it might be good if you purchase a template to double check this information. A lot of times, it's actually just default information from the template.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen some websites that they're wondering like how come my template's title tag or meta description is still the same, and they forget that step. So yeah, it's very
Yeah.
important to check that.
No, definitely. And then I guess the next question kind of comes in is with CMS. So, if I was going to the CMS here and go down to my SEO settings, I could paste something in here, but it's going to be then the same on every one of my blog posts. So that's obviously not what I want. So in order to customize this, what you can do is go into the CMS and go into your CMS settings for your collection. And we're going to add in two new fields. So first field, we're just going to call meta title, and the next one, maybe do a multiple line meta description. Save, save collection. I can now go into my blog posts and type them in. And if I go into my page settings now, scroll down, I can use this little add field section here and put in here my meta title and my meta description. And so then it'll be dynamic for each individual blog post.
Hmm.
Cool. So now let's go on to that next question, which was how do I adjust the content that's displayed when I share my website on something like Facebook or LinkedIn? Now, all that content, once again, is easily accessible here in our site page settings. If we go into our page settings again and scroll down now past the SEO settings, we're going to see this section called Open Graph Settings. So Open Graph is what these platforms use when you share your site on them. You may often see that image that comes along with it, as well as just a little bit of text. And so here I'm actually copying over down for my SEO title tag and meta description, so you
Hmm.
just keep them the same, which is nice and easy. And same thing if you had a template, some of these may have been pre-filled. Specifically the image field here. So there is an image that you can add in here, and you can actually just take one from your asset panel. If you just want to grab any of these images, you can copy the link there, go into your page settings again, and paste that image in. And so there you kind of have a preview of what is going to be shown if you share your site. Now, make sure if you make any adjustments here to publish, and it may still take some time before actually those platforms pick up this new information. One other tip actually about sharing, some browsers will use what's called your canonical tag when you share.
Okay.
Now, if you are using canonicals, we actually have a feature in the SEO tab of your project settings. If you scroll down, you have a global canonical tag URL. And so if you're using this feature, it will automatically create a canonical URL for each page, which is the canonical is basically just it's an official URL is the way you can think of it. And so
Oh,
you're telling the search engines this is the URL of my page. If you are using this feature, make sure it's in the right format because if not, when you share your site, it may cause some issues and not share properly. So the key one that we actually see a lot is that customers don't have the HTTPS at the start, or they have a trailing slash at the end. So if you have a trailing slash or don't have HTTPS, make sure you set that up properly. So when you share your site, it will get shared properly.
good to know.
Cool. Let's go to the next question. So, what do I do if I want to remove a page from a search engine result?
Mm.
Sometimes that happens. We're building a site. In my case here, I have my secret recipes. I don't want anyone to find this page. I
Secret
probably shouldn't
res.
have published it in the first place.
Uh,
Uh,
we see it net. Wait, it's all in code though.
well, yeah,
What
you
what
need
is
to
your
have your
secret? What is your secret?
you need to have your decoder ring, and then you can interpret it. But um, if we go into our site page settings again, we scroll down here. We're going to keep going. Now, one thing I want to point out is there's a section here called Site Search Settings. This has
Hmm.
nothing to do with whether or not your site will be found by search engines or not. So sometimes people may say, "Oh, I want to exclude this page." Done. I don't have to worry about this showing up. It's still going to show up. That's going to do absolutely nothing.
That's from the other feature that we have where people can search internally. Y-
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So every Webflow website comes with a kind of built-in search engine feature for your site, and so that's what this is using. So that really will have no impact on this.
Okay.
But what we will do is go down to the custom code section. And here, the custom code section, all you have to do is paste in one line of code, and that will inform search engines that, hey, I don't want this page to be saved. I don't want you
Mm.
to save information about this page. That's called a meta directive. So I'll paste that in there. All it is, it says meta name robots. So we're saying search engines, which they call robots, content, no index. So I don't want anything on this page indexed. Now, if they previously indexed it, and then the next time, search engine finds your site, sees this code, it will remove it from their index. So this is the most efficient way to have your page not indexed
But
or
still,
appearing
it's
on
going to take
Google.
a while, right, for them to take it
Correct.
down.
Yeah, it still
Yeah.
may take some time, and that's why sometimes using their tools can help speed things up because you can submit it to be recrawled, and hopefully that maybe takes it down a bit sooner.
Okay.
Um, Now, similar to the meta title and meta description, what about when it comes to our CMS collection pages? Here, if I was to go down into my custom code section here and put that meta directive in, that's going to make it so every single one of my blog posts is not indexed. Maybe there's just one I don't want indexed. How do I do that? Well, similar to using the fields that we did previously, we're going to do the same here. So for now, I'll just leave that meta directive in my custom code, but I'll head back over to my CMS, go to my settings. Let's add in a new field. In this case, I'm going to use actually an option, and I'm going to call this meta directives. Oop, early for me to spell. Sorry.
Okay.
And we're going to say here no index. We're going to add in another option. Index. And you can add in more here as well. If you were to Google just the meta directives, there are a bunch of different ones in here that you could actually use and different combinations. But for
Mm.
this sake, I'll just put in those two and we'll save our collection. So now I can go into my item here, scroll down, and I can select something for my meta directive. Going back into my page settings then, and here we go, page settings for my blog post, scroll down. So rather than writing no index here, I'll just remove that. I'm going to add in a field and I'm going to pick my meta directive. So now that'll be dynamic. So whichever
Mm.
page it's on, it will take the appropriate field.
So for the other pages though that you want them to be indexed, um, would you have to add index to all of those? Like, do you have to go back to all your blog posts and say index this, index this, index this?
Um, you would have to, yeah. In
Mm.
this case, if I added that field in later,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't have to take that long. We do have a new feature recently, right? That
Yeah.
would help with that, which is the upload, import CMS,
But
CSV. So
yeah. Yeah, so CSV, and then you can upload a CSV and update the blog post rather than having to delete them all and re-upload them. So yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. That brings us to our final question then is what do I put in my robots.txt file? You may have heard someone say, hey, if you want something not to show up on Google, you need to do something in that file. Well,
Okay.
let's open up our site settings here. And on our SEO tab, we have this section here called robots.txt. The robots.txt file is the first thing that a search engine generally is going to look at on your site. So it's you could kind of say it's like a map of what they will or the instructions of what they would need to do on your site. And so here at the top, it's the first thing we're going to say is user agent, and we're going to use here what's called a wildcard, which means we're telling every user, every search engine what to do.
Hmm.
And in this case, on my side, I'm saying disallow nothing. So you would tell it here that you want it to not allow it to crawl something. So in this case, I'm telling it I'm allowing it to crawl everything. I want it to. I want my site to show up on Google. But maybe you have a folder or a of pages or a CMS collection you don't want indexed.
Mm.
And so here, this is a good way, rather than going in each individual page and adding that meta directive, you can right here tell search engines to just not index a certain area of your site. Now, the using the meta directives is definitely preferred because it is a bit more solid. This is actually just telling it not to crawl the page, not to index it. It is recommended to
Okay.
use the meta directives, but you can also do it this way. And so I could say something like, FAQs, and now if I had an FAQs folder, none of that is going to be indexed. But in most cases, if you just want your site indexed, you want everything to show up on a search. You would type in this user dash agent and then a star for wildcard, and then disallow colon nothing. And if I was to actually go to my custom domain here and go to site map, oh, not site map, the other one, robots. And we can see it right here. User agent disallow. Maybe you can zoom in on this. There we go. Disallow nothing, and then sitemap. It actually instantly links your sitemap there. So you don't actually have to type in the location of your sitemap into your robots.txt file. You can just leave that there as is. So just your disallow statements.
Okay.
And that's it. So hopefully some of those uh, questions were yeah, beneficial and helpful to you all.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely check out. There's more on the Webflow blog actually about a lot of different things you can do with search engine optimization.
Yeah. Well, thank you for those tips. And again, this just helps you with your SEO when Google and other search engines pass by your site and crawl it. And we cannot control those robots. It is up to them. But there's things like the Google search tool or search console. I don't know.
Yep,
They've changed it a
that's the
couple
one.
times.
Yeah,
That can help speed things up. But again, it's up to them. It's up to them, and that's what you can tell your clients as well. You can do your best to set up everything up in Webflow, but it's up to Google. Thank you so much, Drew, for
no problem.
explaining all of that. Let's go ahead and again, if you have any questions about SEO, about web design or Webflow, go ahead and start putting them in the chat. And our moderators, Lacey and Matthew, will help pass them over to me and Drew. If you have any questions about your project specifically, you can go ahead and submit that through the link at the top that's pinned at the top of the live chat. And yeah, if you're watching a recording of this, come by to the next live support hour so you can get your questions answered live. Okay, so let's get into our Q&A. Drew, are you ready for some of these questions?
Let's do it.
All right. Okay, our first one is from Ashish. Okay, I have set the global canonical tag, but need to change the canonical tag of a specific page. How do you do that? Huh. Is that
Right.
possible?
So it's not possible if using the global canonical tag. So in that situation, you would actually have to manually add your canonical tag to each page, and then go in and take that one page and make it different. So in your scenario, you would be best not using the global one.
Okay, so the global one is kind of like adding that custom code tag to every page with that one field, but you still
Yeah.
have the option to do it yourself through the page settings.
Correct. Yeah, you would just have to go into the page settings, custom code in the head, and paste in a manual canonical tag there.
Okay. All right. Hopefully that
Yeah.
answers your question, Ashish. All right, next one. Shashi is asking, can or how do we manage SEO for the Hindi language? I th-
Hmm.
I think I think it's basically just characters inside of a input field. So can you just put that inside of
Yeah,
the SEO meta title and meta description?
I would think so. I mean, I know it does work with other Latin based languages. So it should work with any character in my guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, go ahead and try it out. And again, you can go through the SEO blog or SEO tips that you can find over at webflow.com/blog, and also university.webflow.com. Just search for SEO and follow those instructions. And if that doesn't work or you need more help, you can just contact the support team. Drew and the rest of the support team members will help you out. All right, next one, Jordan Sinclair. Hi, this is a portfolio website I'm making for my brother Ian. I am not finished yet, but I was hoping you could take a look. I was wondering if there's a way to have a modal slider open after clicking on a project on all the project pages. Currently, to get to that page, you have to scroll down to the project section and click on more projects. I really appreciate your help. Okay, so let me check out the website. Gonna go to my screen here. All right, so uh, again, I was wondering if there is a way to have a modal slider open after clicking on a project. A modal slider. So if I click on this, oh, okay, I see. So interesting back button. Okay, I see. So a modal slider open. Um, modal slider. So I think the easier thing to do, Ian, is just to use the lightbox feature that Webflow already has. And so you can put as many images in that lightbox as you want, even YouTube videos. So people will have the control to do it themselves. And if you haven't played around with the lightbox, let me show you real quick. Um, I'm going to add, say, a gallery. And each gallery right here has a light box. And this light box, you can add media into here. So again, you can add. Oh, I'm trying to scroll. Where's my scroll? Okay, scrolling is not working. Okay, there it goes. So you can add images or videos. There we go. Images or videos into your light boxes, and you can add as many as you need. And so when it opens up, well, bad demo because I have nothing in here. I don't have any images in this. Yeah, I don't have any images in here. But when you put images in here, they will come up into your website. So if you can link me your read only link, then I can give you a better demo. Actually, Drew, can you give a demo on Lightboxes real quick on your screen since you have
Yeah.
images?
Let's take a look here. So yeah, so one thing you could do as well is let me just drag in a collection list. I'll just show you this. It's going to be just randomly on my page here. And I know you were said you were doing it with your projects, so you could actually choose your. In this case, I'll just use my blog posts. And then within each of your collection items, you'll add in that lightbox element. So scrolling down, lightbox. And so now you can see I have all these. So you can design obviously how you'd like with with the name of your project. And then in the settings, we're gonna get our media from our blog posts or your projects. And I'll say main image. And I'll actually then set my image itself, in this case, to the main image. And so now I have all these different images showing up here. Back in my Lightbox settings, I can then group these here and just call them, yeah, project gallery. And so now each of these images are all linked within the same Lightbox. So clicking on that, I can scroll through them all.
Yeah. So it acts like a slider,
Yeah,
and it is a modal. So yeah. Thank you.
cool.
Thank you so much, Drew.
Yeah,
And Jordan, hopefully that answers your question. And keep going on your Webflow journey. All right, next one. Stacy is asking, does 301 redirects help SEO?
Yes. Yeah. So I guess they don't um make it worse. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you have a page that maybe or a URL or a link that once existed, a
Yeah.
301 redirect definitely will help because it will, make it so that if someone ever landed on that page, it would resolve to another one,
Yeah.
which then will help your overall domain, authority. The search engines will see, hey, every time someone goes to your site, they get where they want to go. They don't go to a
Yeah.
404 page. So that's good.
Yeah, you don't want 404 pages, especially when a robot crawls your site. You don't want any 404 because that does downrank you a bit, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Definitely. And so
Yeah.
a lot of search engines use what's called domain authority. So they have all the some weird ranking system they use, and the more authoritative, is that the right word? Your domain is, the more likely you are to show up on a Google search, or the higher you would show up.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. It's like mail forwarding, you move from one place to another and you want your mail to forward to the correct place. And
Yeah.
you don't want that person in that old place you used to live at get why am I getting this mail from another person? So, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Next one from Keith. I have a client looking to separate a project into two separate languages. Weglot is not working well. Do you have suggestions on how to let Google know that it's the same site but a different language within Webflow? Oh, so there's people, there's community members who are creating websites with folders. Like for French, they have a folder FR, English, EN, and so forth, and they're duplicating their pages
Mhm.
for those languages. So they're doing it very manually if they're not using like something like Weglot or another translation third-party integration. So yeah, do you have any suggestions on uh, helping Google know?
I personally haven't dealt much with Weglot and the different language content. Um I guess, search engines would crawl all of that information.
Mhm.
And I do believe there are ways you can inform, search engines of what information is, what language that information is. So I guess you could also maybe look into using something like Schema, depending on the content. That could also prove beneficial. Um, yeah, I've never really, worked with much like, multiple language,
Yeah.
uh, sites and being indexed.
Yeah, same here. Same here. But I just did a quick Google search for like an HTML tag. I was hoping to find something like a meta tag or something for language, but what I'm seeing on my screen right here is you can add like f lang. Lang is a
Mhm.
HTML attribute. So, I don't know. Yeah. Sorry we couldn't help Keith, but go ahead and ask on the forums, discourse.webflow.com, and maybe a community member can help out. Yeah. So next one from The Infinite Door. I was wondering, is there any way to have a collection item act as a tab instead of having to link to a CMS page, kind of like Netflix? Collection
Hmm.
item act as a tab. I need an example of this. Collection item.
Maybe it's kind of like, I guess, using like a collection list as like a almost like a menu, where so you would have, your collection list of different categories, and you would tab between them.
Oh,
Yeah.
so yeah, that is a that could be a thing. I'm thinking in my head. Okay, I think I can do a demo of this live. So let's try it. I'm gonna create a collection. I'm gonna call it categories. Create collections, and so these categories will be my tabs. Okay, so let's create the sample items. Round and round it goes. And we're doing it live. All right. So while
Cool.
while it's going, I'm gonna try to go ahead and let's make blog posts, create collection, and let me make more. Okay, I can't. Not sure what's going on. Let me refresh this. Wait, am I still okay? There we go. All right. Let's create 5. Create those, please. There we go. Let's create 20 of these. All right. So let me go here and let's go ahead. Let's do and so. Oh, excuse you.
Sorry.
Scared me. Okay. So let's see here. How would I do this? Yeah. So to me, it would be you would have a page that has the collection list. So you'd have to not use the tabs feature, but recreate it to look like it's tabs. So here's what I mean. So I'm going to go to categories and I'm going to make this flex with the new gap for flex. Yay. 20. And we'll center that. And let's add a link, a text link. We're going to make this really basic looking. Okay, so the name, and then we're going to go to the category page. So current category. And so this is our first page we go to. And then under that, we'll have another collection list. And this one will be the blog posts. And let's make this grid with 3 columns. And we'll just put the name of each text link. And this will go to each blog post.
Hmm.
Hold on. There we go. Let's move this away. Okay, so we have the tabs up here, and let's pretend that we're and these are all the collection lists. But if you click on, say, this one, let me design this a little bit so it's more apparent. Actually, let's make a button. Button. Stay with me. Here we go. All right, so okay, so we have all of our blog posts here. This is all of our blog posts. But if I click on this, it'll go to its category page. And so now we're on the category page for Ipsum. Okay. So this would only show, we would use the filters right here to only show filters where. Oh, I forgot to make a reference. I'm going too fast in my head.
This is actually a
Yeah.
great way to do it, Nelson, as well. Like this is actually the customer support portal. When you go to support.webflow.com, it's
Mm-hmm.
built in Webflow, and that's exactly how each of the different topics are filtered. So you can narrow down, and it's just it's swapping between different CMS pages.
Category. This is what I missed. Add the category, and now they are linked to those categories. Let me add those 20. Um, okay, wait. Like when you click on a Netflix movie, it pops up that movie's in a semi full screen without linking to another page. Oh, okay. So I'm going about this demo wrong. I had I had an idea, but that's not what the Infinite Door was looking for. Oh,
Hmm.
that's more I feel like that's gonna take custom code and uh yeah, I don't think I can do that real quickly. The Infinite Door.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It would require some sort of custom code to make it work the way that they're kind of
Mm.
asking there.
I mean, with time, you can. I think you can create a Netflix style page with collections. I have not done that myself, but there has to be a way. There has to be a way with. advanced custom code that you can add to Webflow. But yeah,
Mm.
yeah. All right. Next question, Stacy again. Question for Drew: do you have any tips or resources for ensuring my site has good SEO?
Right. Well, there's actually within the Webflow Designer, you have the audit panel, which, while it's not designed for SEO specifically, is very useful in seeing generally, some things that are important to search engines,
Mm-hmm.
because the same things that are important to, for accessibility are important to search engines.
Yeah.
So going to your audit panel, I can see right here that I'm missing all of these images don't have any alt text, so my site is in need of some attention. And so search engines are gonna find that because they're not a human being, so they need to know
Mm-hmm.
what an image is.
Yeah.
Adding alt text is beneficial and helps for your search engines because excuse me, sorry, it makes the content more relevant. So, you're defining a picture, and there are some ways you can also include some of your keywords in there of what you're trying to search because the image is relevant. If in this case,
Yeah.
I'm a brewery, this is a picture of my brewery. I just included the word brewery again on my site because that's what the picture is. And so that's beneficial. So, using the audit panel, as well as there is a great just kind of I generally just work off of checklists.
Mm-hmm.
So just yeah, going through. Um, I think there's actually a really good one on the yeah on the Webflow blog. I think it's like a
Yeah.
9-step checklist or something that
Oh
you
yeah.
just go through. That is basically yeah, check your audit panel, check your meta title and description. Um, but I do also recommend using the search engine tools that Nelson mentioned earlier was Google Search Console.
Mm-hmm.
They help look at your site and will tell you kind of like those areas that like, hey, these pages have some problems or these pages are slow. There's another tool out there from Google, Page Speed Insights. So you can put your site in there and it
Yeah.
will scan it, tell you how fast it loads. The faster a site, the more search engines like it.
Yep.
And so I can give you some tips there too. Hey, this image is the size of the moon. You should probably compress it a bit, and your site will load faster.
Yes, yes. And for image compression, there's this free tool out there called tinypng.com that I use
Hmm.
personally all the time. So, yeah, when your client is like, I want this photo to be high quality, and they give you something that's like over 4 megabytes, and you're like, oh, but if you size it down and then run it through that compressor, you can get it down to maybe under a megabyte. So that really helps. It's not only with the
Yeah,
loading of your page for all the people who are going to it, but also on SEO.
yeah. I think there's a yeah definitely a misconception about good quality images on the internet. That if you're printing it,
Yeah.
it's different
Oh yeah.
versus if you're displaying it on a web page. It doesn't
Yeah.
need to be 4 megabytes in
Yeah.
size.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, next one from Medium Studio. How do you incorporate monster insights or something like that, or do you just check your Google dashboard? Sorry, I have zero knowledge about SEO. Well, don't worry, SEO is still something I'm learning as well. So, yeah, yeah, I'm not sure what monster insights is, but do you know, Drew?
No, I think it's a let me just double check if I'm correct. A yeah, it's a
Insights.
plugin for Google Analytics.
Oh, okay.
Here I'll bring it over to my screen here. Um, there we go. Yeah, so it helps along with Google Analytics to find certain things.
But it seems,
However, it is
yeah,
a yeah, it's a WordPress plugin. So
yeah.
um, using Google Analytics out of the box would essentially solve your problem. So you really wouldn't need to use anything like this
Mhm.
if you want to get those insights. I think this plugin looks like it's beneficial for those on WordPress sites because you can just do everything in WordPress. You don't have to go to Google Analytics. It's kind of what it's doing. But using the full power of Google Analytics, you're probably going to be better off than using something like that.
Okay, yeah, and there's other tools out there if you want to drill down deeper. I mean, I think there's like I've heard of things like Mixpanel and Hotjar, and um, there's I think there's a no code one, no code analytics or something like that. There's lots of tools out there that usually what they do is give you a code snippet, just like Google Analytics. They give you a
Yeah.
code snippet and say, add this to the head tag of all of your sites, or sorry, all of your web pages, and you can do that through the custom code section of your project. And so uh, maybe that's what Monster Insights is doing with that. With their plugin, but yes, you can do that with
Mhm.
Webflow with other tools like it. All
Cool.
right. From next one is from Peter. Hello, Peter, long time fan and community member of Webflow. Very long time. He's asking, how important are heading levels for SEO? I see that really big websites skip heading levels everywhere. I usually follow this rule very strictly, but I want another perspective. Thanks. Good question.
Yeah. No, really good question. I personally have always been a fan of heading levels, when it comes to search engines. Um, I think it's one of those things too where it is with same like how often is Google gonna crawl my website? It's a mystery. And I think even with heading levels, it is a mystery if it really makes a difference, but it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And it does also help, from my understanding, the categorization of indexing on their part.
Mm-hmm.
So specifically with your H1 tag, and then down to the H2. And so they're able to break up the content a bit better when they index your site. So I know personally, it's something I always do, and I do think it is important for search engines to grab that information in that manner, and it helps with accessibility as well.
Yeah.
So um,
For
yeah,
page
it's
readers, like in
yeah,
Safari, you can do like remove all the. What I love about it is just a reader version, and it removes all the ads and everything, and just get what you need. So
yeah.
yeah, headings are really important for that. Okay, thanks for answering that one. And just a reminder to everyone, if you have any questions about your projects, go ahead and share your read-only link with me in the form that's pinned at the top, and I will look through your site, answer questions that you may have, or any issues that you may have, and you want me to answer it live. This is the time for you. All right. Next question from Fernando. Do you recommend making a schema for every Webflow page? Oh, yeah. Schema for
Yeah.
SEO.
Yeah. Definitely recommended, but it does take some time. So if you have the time and it's something you want to add, it's not going to hurt. It's only going to make things better. It's nice even with CMS pages, you can dynamically add in sections of the schema, just like we did with that meta directive. How
Yeah.
you can, with certain fields, insert content, and so you can do the same there. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely recommended if you have the time. I would say, historically on sites I've done and worked on, I always try to make sure I have it at least on my homepage and on my blog pages. So those kind of like changing pages are
Mm-hmm.
really good to have it on because, search engines are going to pick up on the new content I have,
Yeah.
and they're going to add that in. And then, yeah, my homepage, that's the main page I want people to find.
Yeah.
So making sure that one is has everything it needs
Yeah.
is what I want to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Take the time if you really wanted to rank up higher, do everything you can, including schema. And I just Googled on my screen Webflow schema, and I found this uh, forum post. So yeah, you can find a lot, and I'm gonna link it in chat right now. You can find a lot in discourse.webflow.com, and
Mhm.
Sitin or Ezra is showing you how to do it from scratch. And just like what you're talking about, you can link dynamically all that schema data
Mhm.
into Webflow. And so, yeah, like right here, this part,
Yeah.
this image, you can, just like you're doing with the meta directives, you can pull in data from your collection and put it into the schema, especially for blog posts. So, yeah, yeah, check this post out. And thank you, Fernando, for the question. Let me see here. Do we have anything else? Yeah. Um, Fernando is saying only 10% of people do schema. And I guess that's more opportunity for if you're adding schema, you get ranked higher because you're giving the robots
Yeah. And there's
more.
certain actually things that Schema can be really good for too. Things like, I mean, depends on what your website is about, but if you have like recipe website, there is specific recipe schema, and using
Mm,
that will help your recipes show up. If you Google, everyone's done it. "Hey, I
yeah.
want to look for this type of food or this
Yeah.
this meal tonight," and those recipes slider kind of shows up. That's
Yeah.
how you get into areas like that is by using schema.
Oh, okay. And I'm guessing it works for businesses too, how they show their business card on the side whenever you're looking for a certain type of like, I don't know, restaurant.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely has some play. I think some of those also get linked in with Google My Business. Is that what it's called?
Oh, okay.
Um, but yeah, they work in conjunction. So, it all helps. Like, and sometimes Google will say, "Hey, this is the business. This is their schema on their page. I'm going to take that information and display it accordingly." So, it doesn't hurt to have it all.
Yeah. All right. All right. Next question, Stacy. What are some black hat SEO techniques that you see people make the mistake of implementing? Hmm.
Hmm.
Black hat. Um. Black hat meaning like bad SEO techniques.
I'm thinking that's yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I know one thing
Yeah.
you do see is like what they call keyword stuffing, where
Hmm.
people just put their keywords like to the extreme, where
Yeah.
it starts to get not natural, and then also like abusing things
Yeah.
like alt text. So, alt
Hmm.
text is not made for search engines. It's made
Yeah.
for accessibility. And so while you can definitely use it to your advantage, as I said earlier, if you have a picture of your brewery and it's a or whatever it is, your
Yeah.
business, it's yeah, include that word in there because it's gonna help. But don't, just put in there, 100 keywords that then,
Yeah.
means nothing to those using the screen readers. So that's one I have seen that is definitely not recommended is yeah, don't keyword stuff.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. Like, just keep it simple, straight to the point, and help people out. It's not just the robots that you're talking to, but it's mainly humans.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Very from KSM. Very nice moment for live. Thanks so much. Right. And yeah, I think that's all the questions. Fernando saying, great, thanks again. You're welcome. Happy to help. There we go. I think that's about it. Yeah. Yeah. So let's go ahead and go. Let's close this out. Um, thank you. Oh, wait, one more. Let's get one more. Ashish is asking how to implement breadcrumbs on all the pages in a buttery smooth way.
Mm.
Bread and butter.
I like the sound of this. I haven't had breakfast yet, so I'm just
Well, right after this, right after this. Yeah, breadcrumbs. I know there's breadcrumbs. Now I'm getting hungry on university.webflow.com. Wait, let me check. Let's go to like spacing. Yeah. So on my whoa. Okay, yeah. Sorry, the music was playing on my screen. But on university.webflow.com, I just clicked on a random lesson for spacing. And right here, this is the breadcrumbs that Ashish is talking about. And yeah, this can be done with a Webflow CMS. Um, yeah, I wouldn't know how to build it right off the top of my head, but yes, there is a way to do that. Oh, thank you, Matthew. Matthew put in the chat right now that there is a write up on the Webflow blog on how to do
cool.
that. Oh, and he wrote it.
Oh, perfect.
Yes, perfect. Great timing. I need to learn this. I'm gonna keep this up on my screen and learn. Um, but thank you, Matthew, for one, linking this, and two, writing this up. So many great resources. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Um that's all the time we have for the Q&A. And again, if you're watching a recording of this and you want to get your question answered live about anything about Webflow or your project, come back next time and submit your question or project link. All right. Thank you, Drew, for again waking up so early. I hope we have sent the sun your way a little bit. So,
No, it's still dark out, but that's
oh,
okay. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it, and it was nice to be able to chat with you and the community. Yeah.
awesome. Speaking of which, do you have anything else you want to say to the community before we let you go?
Yeah, no, just thanks for having me, both to the community team here at Webflow, but also the wider Webflow community, all the customers. It's great working alongside of you all, and hope that we're as the customer support team, we're doing what we can to amplify your voices within Webflow and make sure you're heard and that we can all work together. Thank
Yes.
you,
Thank you so much for everything you do for the community. Yeah, so enjoy your breakfast and
thank you.
and thank you to you and your team. So have a great morning.
Cool. Yeah, we'll see you.
Right. So if you have any account or technical support questions, again, send them over to Drew and his team over at support.webflow.com. But if you have any questions regarding design or custom code, send that over to discourse.webflow.com. And if you get your question answered, please do me a favor and pass that favor forward and help someone else so we can all grow together. The next stream is next Thursday, not Wednesday, but Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. We're going to be celebrating GAAD, which stands for Global Accessibility Awareness Day. So be there. And that's it for this stream. I'll see you during Thursday's stream. And as always, make the web beautiful together. See ya.